Hi guys, welcome back to another very exciting video tutorial. So by the end of this video tutorial, you will be able to design this simple view with a logo, trembler, text fields that actually work. Okay, we can try typing. Username let be Rob123. Password let it be password. Okay, and before I click login, I just want to show you that I've actually 6 graphical assets for you, and remember this thing matches the image over here. Then when I click login, the second image, the success image, is over here. So you need these 2 graphical assets in order to follow along this video tutorial. So now I'm going to show you how you can get these graphical assets. First things first, I'm going to quit the simulator and I'm going to open up Safari. You can open up a browser of any choice, but my preference is Safari. Now let's type in GitHub. Actually, you shouldn't type in GitHub. You should go to the video description down below. There should be a project GitHub link in the video description down below. Let's click on that link and you will be redirected to the same page as I am on right now. Okay? So don't really follow me. You won't really reach this page to following me in this video tutorial. Just head into the video description down below, click on the project GitHub link, and you should be redirected to this page. So as you can see, I've just provided a little bit of details, the 2 assets that are provided, as well as the app itself. Okay, you can just read all about it. Okay, so what I want to do is to head into this green button over here and click clone or download, then click download zip. Okay, so now it's downloaded over here. I'm going to open up the file, and what I want to do to get the graphical assets is that you want to click on this drop down menu, then head into the assets and drop down over here as well. Then in the login image set, open this up and you should see this 3 PNG. Open up this image set as well and you should see some PNGs as well. So what I want you to do is to select these 6 PNG files and holding down shift, selecting all 3 of these, holding down command, okay, remember hold down command, and okay, so you have these 3 PNG files. Let's drag into your desktop and you should have these PNG files. Okay, brilliant, excellent. So now you're ready to proceed on to the video tutorial. So first thing I'm going to do is to open up my Xcode and create a new Xcode project. Make this a single view application and let's call this login. Make sure language is Swift and devices is iPhone. The organization name, organization identifier, you can just keep them as default. Okay, it doesn't really matter. So essentially this identifier thing and name thing is just a way for Apple to identify your application. So your team, you may not have any personal team, but that's fine. It doesn't really affect this tutorial anyway. And let me just click next. And this is where you'll be able to save your project. You can select from different locations that you can save. You can save in your downloads, you can save in your documents, you can save in the desktop, and in my case, I'm going to save it in my desktop. Okay, so you have this interface. So first thing I'm going to do is to hit into your main.storyboard. So just click on it once, and you have this view over here. Okay, make sure this is iPhone 7, and if it's not iPhone 7, and for some reason if it's iPhone 6s or iPhone SE, just click on this, and you will be able to change your devices accordingly. As you can see, we can even change the iPad, but we're not going to go to the extreme, and let's change back to iPhone 7. Okay, so this is how you can change. You can even change the orientation as well, landscape or portrait, but we're going to keep things as default. Make sure it says iPhone 7 portrait, and once you're done configuring, click on this again to close down this side pane over here. Okay, so first what I'm going to do is to click on this view. Just click on this once, And over here in the attributes inspector, you should see a background. And for some reason, if you're not seeing this side pane, just click on this button over here to toggle this side pane. Now, go to the background attribute over here of the view, and let's give this a sort of a green color, sort of a green turquoise. Looks good. Okay. And by the way, you can also copy the hex code of my color if you wish to follow along. Just head into this slider thing and click on RGB sliders and change the hex color to 59FFC4. 59FFC4. And once you're done, let's close this window and you're good to go. So the first thing you want to do is to have a label. And for some reason, if you're not seeing this object library, just toggle between all of these until you meet the object library, and the object library consists of a circle and a square in the center. So just click on this, and you have an object library which contains a ton of objects which you can drag into your view. So for this case, through the variety of objects, you're going to get the label. So type in label to filter, and eventually one label object should appear. Drag this over here to the top and make sure it's somewhere over here. Okay, the lines should show up once you're in the right position, and you're done. Now click on this label and double click the label in order to change the text. So just double click it and call this Trembler. Now we're just going to centralize it again, and let's customize this text a little bit. First, let's change the size to 32 just to make it stand out, and then we just adjust the size accordingly and centralize it again. Now click on this and let's change the color to white by clicking the RGB slider over here. Click on the slider and drag this to all to the max. So make sure all the values are 255. So now it's white. And make sure just click on this text one more time and change the style to bold. So now that it's bold, it stands out a little bit more. Of course, the color combination is not that good. It's a little bit too glaring, but whatever. So next thing you want to do is to type in text field. So as you can see, you should have one text field appear. Click this and drag it into the view controller. Make sure you go along this line over here and dragging another text field into the view. Now click on this text field, and instead of going to the text over here, you can go to your placeholder text. So the placeholder text is essentially the text, the grayed out text, and when the user starts typing onto the text field, the placeholder text will disappear. So in the placeholder text, I'm going to type this username. Okay, and in this text field, we're going to call this password. So the placeholder text will provide the user an indication of what to type in the text field. Now expand the text field to the margins of the view, and same goes for the password text field as well. Okay, last but not least, when you drag in an image view, where you just type in image, and you have an image view over here. Drag in the image view, and before we continue, what I want you to do is to open up the side pane. Okay, let's toggle this, and you have this side pane over here. Toggle this button and head into your assets folder. As you can see, the 3 graphical assets over here. Let me just drag all of these. Okay, so just drag in these 3 graphical assets to here, and oops, not the view controller, instead the main.storyboard. And let me just call this image log in. So now it's a login. So how does this work? Heading back to your assets folder, and as you can see, we have a image named login, and that's the reason why login appears here. So if we change this to arrow, okay, over here, the image view will be no more because there's no image called login. So let's change the image back to login. And we should see our nice little arrow with a rectangle. I mean with a side of a rectangle. Head into your view, and in content mode, click on aspect fit. So now it just fits the aspect ratio, I mean the original aspect ratio of this image. And let me just decrease the size of it, like so. Okay, so this would be good. And now we want to have a button in which the user can tap, and when the user taps it, they will be redirected to another view. Let's drag in a button and change the text over here. Okay, just double click the button and call it login. So of course it doesn't really fit in this view, so let's customize the button. So first thing I want to do is to change the font by clicking on this T over here and change the size to 18. Next, you want to change to semi-bold. And last but not least, you want to change the color by heading to the text color attribute and click on this. Click on this thing over here, the rectangle, and click on the circle, and now you can change the color. I'm going to give this approximately the same color of this image view, and we just expand this button. So let me just expand this button a little bit more. Let's give this 25 instead. Okay, something like that, and let me just decrease the size of the image view. Whoops. Decrease the size of it. And voila. Let me just make this a little bit closer. Okay, looks fine. So now that we're done with the login screen, you can go ahead and test your application. But before that, really important, make sure to change this to an iPhone 7 because you have it selected as an iPhone 7, and that's why I need to run it on the iPhone 7. If you selected a different device, it may appear a little bit off, okay? Things may not appear as how you wanted it because we didn't specify any constraints. But in this video tutorial, we are not going to touch any constraints, okay? Just to keep things simple. So let's run it on the iPhone 7, make sure, because we have this selected as an iPhone 7. And let's see how it goes. So now I click on the text field. I can type. Let's call this ASD password will be FF. So as you can see, the password is visible, and we don't want that to happen. So we can actually customize this such that the letters are actually covered with the black dots. And when you click the button, it doesn't work. So let me just quit the simulator by pressing Command Q. Okay, so what you want to do is to click on the login button over here and scroll down. Just keep scrolling. Oops. Make sure you click on the password text field. Just click on this and scroll down, and you should see the spell checking keyboard type appearance return key, and below that you have a secure text entry, and make sure you check that. So what that does is it secures it and let's treat it as a password. So now we run it. Okay, we click on the password, it has this small little dots. Cool. So now the last thing what we want to do is to B1, when the user clicks on this button, they actually go on into another view. So to do that, let me just close this by clicking on this. I'm going to close the side pane over here just for a little bit more space. So let's click on this, and in the object library, type in view controller. So there will be a new view. Let me just adjust it. So now we have a new view, and over here, let's have an image view. Drag it over here. Make sure it's centralized. And let's call this success. The image will be success. And make sure you keep the aspect fit. There you have it. So the image success, why does this work? Let me just click on this, head into my assets folder, and remember we have an image called success, hence it's able to retrieve the image from the assets folder. Okay, so now that we have set up the second view, how are we supposed to connect the views between each other? This is really simple. All you just have to do, click on the button, right click and drag. Okay, right click, keep dragging to this view. Okay, so let me just do that again. Right click on this button, go on to the next view and let go, and you should see this black dialog box. Click on show, and you should have this small little button over here. And now let's try building and run it. Okay, so now if I type in my username, hi, password, let's go with hi as well, login, there we have it, success. Excellent. So congratulations for making it to the end of this video tutorial. You have learned a lot. You have learned about UI text fields. You have learned how to take a button and transfer it to another view. You have learned about image views, how to work with image views and dragging image view to assets folder. Okay, so excellent, good job for you. And this is Ben. Peace out.